Burp. Hi. Don't even have my apron on yet. Oh. Burp, 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 burp. Oh. Hi. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. I don't even have everything cleaned up. Oh my god. The dish situation since last week has been a nightmare with my finger, which is still got a line through it, but it's all sealed up. Um, I was barely able to do dishes because I kept catching whatever. So I would do little bits to kind of keep it from being a complete disaster, but quite a bit of it kind of lingered. Um, and I was chipping through it today. It was a mountain. There's only a little bit left, but it's a bunch of the big pots. So we're probably gonna have to wash one of those today so I can use it. I could maybe use that one, but I should wash all of them. So that um, if you weren't here last week and you didn't see what happened, I pretty seriously cut my little finger. It wasn't very long. It wasn't a very long cut. You can hardly even see it anymore. It's only crossways across my little finger there. But it was quite deep, and they gave me stitches. I got the stitches out today, because it's all sealed up. So we're good to go, which is a big relief. The only thing, it's been to the point where I don't even worried about it for 2 days. It was like, except that there was still a stitch, which had the risk of catching on stuff, and that was the danger. Was if that snags and pulls, then we maybe have to go back and get it. But it's out. We're all sealed up. We're all clean. We're good to go. Today, I didn't know what we were going to cook, but fortune smiled upon me and decided for me. We're going to cook this guy, by which I mean this guy's already cooked. He was in the discount bin, marked down from just under 11, or just under 12, 11 and some change, to just under 7. So pretty good markdown. We are going to have to use him right away, today. So we're going to use that whole thing. And I was brainstorming. I've been brainstorming what to do with a whole lobster, a whole already cooked lobster in shell. I'm a big fan of lobster. I don't have it very often because it's kind of expensive. I thought just under $7 was pretty good for a whole lobster. I want to use the shell because that's a lot of the weight I paid for was the shell, which means not just scoop this thing out and use the meat part. He's not in massive lobster, but he's pretty. He's okay sized. So, the most common suggestion that was given when I was doing my brainstorming was lobster roll, variations on lobster roll, some kind of lobster sandwich, which is a easy route to go, but it would not utilize the shell. And I want to use the shell. Now, I could just save the shell and freeze it in my bag of shells and use it as stock later down the line. Or we can do that today. And what I'm going to do is, because the thing I was looking at, with a whole already cooked lobster, because you could split it and do a thermidor. I've never done a thermidor. So I was tempted to do that. But the consensus of rolls has convinced me to do a lobster roll instead. Beer runner. What's for dinner? Lobster. I got a lobster, 40% off. We're just talking about it right now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to combine the flavors of the lobster roll with the lobster thermidor, and also use the shells and make a soup on the side. And I'm going to treat it a little bit like a French dip, where you dip the sandwich into the lobster soup. Um, we're gonna make lobster cheese soup for dipping a lobster sandwich into. That's the plan. It sounds like nonsense. But, you know, it's nonsense. Hi, Beer Runner. How's it going? We have to use this guy today, or freeze him. And I think freezing him would ruin the meat. The shell would be fine. I could save the shell. I don't know why they put him on this in this mesh bag. But this is the critter. This is today's critter. Look at him. Behold, the lobster. How was my weekend? Well, I don't know if you saw last week. I hurt my finger, so for the weekend was still a little bit rough because my finger was still being bandaged, and it makes everything just slightly hard to do. But I got the stitches out today, which means I don't have to bandage it anymore, which means we're good to go. So things are looking up at the moment. I want to set down a tray for this. So step one is going to be disassembling this lobster. He was not pre-cracked, he was just pre-cooked. But a cooked lobster comes apart right at the tail quite easily. Ooh, ooh, I've been calling this a guy. This is a lady lobster. I think, if I know my lobster anatomy. That dark red thing, I'm pretty sure, is lobster roe. So we want to get that out of there. That's going to be a fun addition to whatever else we do. So my weekend was fine. It got really hot here again. And really humid. Even worse than the hot, it got really humid. There's the inside of a lobster, if you've never seen it before. We need a bowl. But this big red bit, yeah, those are lobster eggs. Those are lobster eggs in my lobster. Quite a lot of them. We are blessed with this lobster. That's gonna make something. That's gonna be interesting. Getting out another bowl to separate those bits. Those red bits from the inside of the lobster. Fascinating. I don't know that I've ever found a lobster like this at the store with roe. Roe being what you call fish eggs. The caviar of the lobster, so to speak. And we don't want to lose any of it, so we're going to make something out of that. We're going to make something out of it. We're going to do something. Oh! Hi. How's it going? I don't think I want to use most of the green bit. Those are the... Some people really like the tamale, which is this green part. Other people find it very off-putting. And I'm in the latter category. Not a massive fan of the tamale. There's not a ton of it. It's just this bit here. Off-putting. Hi, or we were just talking about this. This lobster had roe, unlaid eggs, unfertilized eggs, because when they're inside the lobster, they haven't been fertilized yet. Which was a uncommon and pleasant find. I'm just gonna pitch this bit. Yeah, I'm just gonna pitch that bit. I don't want that bit. How's it going, Earl? Save it, use it for stock. Well, I am making a stock, but I'm making a stock out of this part of the lobster. But I'm making a stock like right now. But too late. I already pitched that bit. Not digging around for it. We're gonna get the tail open. Gearing up for your Wednesday stream. Lots to think about. I didn't know you streamed. Did I know you streamed? I know you had your own website. Yeah, look at all that roe. Look at all the roe. Saving that. Any previews on what you'll be cooking? The meat's kind of dried out on this lobster. Started for real a couple weeks ago. Oh, I was unaware. I will have to give you a follow and drop by sometime. Wow, we're not getting... You don't get a lot out of these guys, do you? Hence why I did not want to discard all the shells today. Not that I would discard the shells anyway, but I wanted to use the shells in our dish today. Because I don't think we'd get a full dish without the shells. Parmesan meatballs for meatball sliders. Finish up the bread pudding, hit it with bourbon. The roe is bright red, yes. And yes, this lobster was pre-cooked. Ooh, that is, of course, the hard part. The hands here are quite hard to crack open. And there's often not a lot in there for lobsters that have been shipped to the Midwest. A little bit. Hi, Bookwoman. Thank you, Earl. Decent piece out of the hand there. the big hand. Each lobster has two hands, and the hands are distinctive. There's the skinny one that has little sharp teeth on the inside, and then there's the fat one that has big rounded teeth, and they use them for different things. This is the crushing one. That's the nimble one. The crushy one is the tougher one to crack of the two. Oh, God. Yep. Don't break your shears. Lobster in this economy. Hi, Zelda. Yes, I got this lobster today for 40% off. So I'm using it today because it's not going to be good tomorrow. Oh, I forgot you were in Maine. Well, you should know all about lobster. There's not a ton of meat on this lobster, I'm not going to lie. Often the case with ones you find this far inland. So we're going to save some of the scraps that normally I wouldn't care about just to bulk out our thing. There's also some meat where the legs attach. I might try to normally ignore that, but I might try to get at that just to bulk up our thing a little bit. Where's this from? I got this at Woodman's. It was, or not Woodman's. I got this at the local grocery store. So it was already cooked when I got it. I assume it came from New England. It was just listed as lobster. English muffins. But we're breaking him apart so that I can try to get bits of meat out wherever I can find them. But also because I want to give the whole shebang a roast because I want to use it for some stock. There we go. There we go. But yeah, there's not a lot of because because they get shipped. This one actually might have been cooked and then shipped frozen, but oftentimes they're shipped live, but they have to be bound with the little rubber bands in the tanks, which means they're not a lot of activity, which means they kind of wither away. And yeah, they're also often quite expensive, especially for what you get. Which is why I really want to crack these arms open, not just the hands. How's it going, Zelda? I would shout you out. I would also shout out Earl, if my hands weren't all gross right now. Check out Burly Earl, who says he's kicked off streaming. He's got a food blog, but apparently he's diving into the world of streaming on Wednesday. And Zelda, you can go check out on Sundays. She's playing video games. you know, the thing that almost everyone does on Twitch. But this lobster only cost me $7. So, yeah. Lobster in this economy. Cheap lobster in this economy. Okay, and those are our shell bits. And we got a bonus of some lobster roe. There was no way for me to check these guys before I grabbed one because it was wrapped up. So that's just a lucky hit. I'm gonna wash my hands. I do have some additional frozen claws that I've had for a long time. That we could attempt to dig out if I think I need more for our finished product here. Okay, that, and I'm going to add my shrimp shells. We don't have a full bag, so we are just going to use them as is. I've already got the oven preheated. We're going to toss this whole thing in the oven. Most of the shells in here right now are Gulf brown shrimp, which should provide quite a nice amount of flavor. But roasting them will help extract the flavors before we stick them in the hot water. You could just boil them directly, but I want to roast them first. Okay. It's all right. It's okay. So, not a ton of meat came out of that guy. The tail was very skinny. A big chunk of what I'm making today is just... See, I wanted to put it on one of these guys. That's not going to be very much. Here, let me give shouties. Let me give shouties. I gotta pull up some reference recipes. Yeah. You can look at my. You can't. It doesn't focus on that. You can look at my wounded finger. Tell you what we'll do. We'll figure out how much lobster I actually got out of that. Because I have two bowls that are the same size, so I can just weigh this one, tear it out, and then switch bowls. I got 85 grams of lobster, and I don't know how much of the roe. That's not a ton. That's not a ton. Lobster roll recipe. Lobster Thermidor recipe. Blah 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 blah. One lobster that's twice the size of the lobster I had is how this one starts. and 1.5 pounds of just the meat, which is twice as heavy as the entire lobster. Um, so we are definitely going to have to lean into maybe some bulking strategies. This should give us an interesting twist on it, though. Where do I add the roe? Where do I add the roe? We could add some shrimp. We did add some shrimp shells to our stock tray just now, and I do have some of those Gulf brown shrimp and also some jumbo shrimp. That would give us at least the right texture. It wouldn't really add to the flavor. I have a couple of frozen just lobster claws in here. They've been in there a long time. They're probably freezer burned as heck. I'm gonna pull out 2 of them. We're gonna add 2 of them to this. But that means I need a bowl to put them in while they thaw real fast in a water bath. I don't know why they had a big thing of claws at one point, but they had a big thing of just claws at one point. And I bought some and froze them. They were in shell. This is them here. This is them here. And I just kind of prayed that they would stay good in shell in the freezer. So I've grabbed out 2 of them. They're quite icy. We're gonna cold water thaw them real fast over there. The roe is good for sauces and soups. Okay. I was thinking to either mix it into our bisque jus dip or into, because a lobster roll is a mayo-based sauce, or a mayo-based thing. Although a warm lobster roll is not, and that's what people suggested was a warm lobster roll. A warm lobster roll is a butter-based thing. A regular lobster roll. Let's see, that's Food Network. That one's All Recipes. That one's also All Recipes. Butter. Yeah, no mayo in the warm one, which makes sense. Mayo melts when you heat it. Hi, Ryuya. What have you missed? You missed me cracking open and disassembling the lobster. We got a little bowl of lobster meat, and our lobster, surprise, surprise, had eggs. So I've got a little bowl of lobster roe as well to work with, which was unexpected. I'm thawing out a little bit of extra claws that I had in the freezer previously. They're probably badly freezer burned because they've been in there a long time, but they've also been in the shells, so they might not be badly freezer burned. They might be just regular freezer burned. And then I can like mince that up and make this a little bit more substantial. We got about 80 grams, 85 grams of out of that. And then we're roasting off the shells so that I can make a quick stock in the pressure pot with them. The plan is, I'm sorry, yours is the only idea that I'm not including because I can't, I suppose I'm not including hay, but I think that was just Bob being funny. But the curry, I couldn't figure out how to incorporate it with all the rest of this stuff. I'm making a lobster roll Thermidor au jus bisque. Or bisque au... I'm making nonsense. We're making nonsense. My finger's better. Stitches that came out this morning. Still a little bit tender. I gotta be careful. I poked it with one of the pointy bits of the shells, and I immediately felt that it's still a little bit tender. But so yes, that's what you've missed. And we did a shout out for Zell Dangerous, and I was gonna do a shout out for Earl because he says he started streaming, and I haven't checked him out yet. And yeah, we were just thinking about. I was thinking about what to do with the row, and I was thinking about what. Thinking about what to do with the row, and I was thinking about what to do about the substance of the sandwich. These guys can get set aside well, I think. Yeah, I can't get any of the cameras to look at it really good. There's a really distinct line right across the middle of my finger. You can see it. There's a really distinct line, and there's the two little dots above and below it where the stitch was. It wasn't real long. It went crossways, but it was pretty deep. It's not a scar. The little there's little edges. It might leave a scar, but at the moment it's actually like visibly the edges of the break. They haven't quite sealed fully. So we will see if it actually leaves a scar. But at the moment it is literally a little gap in the very surface of the skin. Yeah, that was fun. This whole past week has been just a treat with me trying to keep this thing protected. The gauze came off within 2 days. The gauze was coming off on Wednesday. Wednesday night I took the gauze off, and it was clean, so then I didn't bother putting more gauze on. I just used regular Band-Aids just so that I wouldn't catch the stitch on anything. And now that I have the stitch off, the doctor said, or the nurse said, yeah, don't put any more bandages on it. Let it heal at this, let it heal in the air at this point because it's closed up. Yeah. What was I about to do? Cut vegetables. Get out some vegetables. Yeah, well, I've been doing dishes today with the little break. But yeah, the problem was that I lunged for the fallen cup, and between when I started lunging and when I got there, it broke. So there was a sharp edge when my hand arrived. Celery. Lobster roll garlic butter. I was thinking lobster roll mayo, like a lobster roll aioli. But your idea sounds better. Flemish bookwoman. Oh my God. Cops are going to recognize the fingerprints. No, other way around. There's going to be a kink in my fingerprints now, so if I touch stuff, it's not going to show up the same way. Bookwoman, 5 gift subs. Don't forget, also remember, it's Subtember. Gift subs, all different kinds of subs are discounted for September. Let's see, you got Beer Runner, you got Zelda, you got Normal Value, you got Mags, and you got Queerly Studley. And Jay. Oh my God. Everything is kicking off. I am mostly healed. Thank you so much, Jay. It's Jay. Everybody, stay calm. It's Jay. Wow, level 3. Damn. Guys just jumped 2 categories up on the hype train there. Thank you guys so much. Rayuya. Rayuya coming in with the sub bomb. My God. Rena Wave, Empanada, Robocop, Wii Former, and Woof. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's all kicking off. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. More subs than we have people here. I'll do a little song and dance, but do a little song and dance not holding a knife so I don't cut myself again. Kicked it up to level 4 with that one, Rayuya. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Big preach. Yeah, don't get distracted and cut myself. Put the knife down before you do a celebration. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it a lot. I really do. Sometimes it's tough. Our last stream was a little bit of a short one and a little bit of a light turnout. I just needed to feel better. I just like hanging out with you guys here. It's fun. It energizes me. It makes my brain feel nicer. Okay, we don't need the whole... Probably don't need that whole carrot. We probably switch to the small carrot. Because I want that much of everything. Thank you guys so much. If you got a sub from any of those gift bombs from Maria or Bookwoman, and you haven't already thanked them, give them a thanks. You guys kicked up a hype train. Hype train for healed wounds, I guess. No hype train for lobster. I'm switching to a smaller carrot. I do have a smaller one in here. I don't eat that much carrot. And this one's bendy. This one's the bendy carrot. Yeah, for all the knife work I do, the fact that I cut myself on a cup while washing is just... Not even cut myself on a knife. Cut myself on a cup. Ugh. It was real bad, guys. It was real bad, guys. Also, I broke one of my favorite mugs. It's just one of those times. It's just one of those times. So I really appreciate all of you. We can use that top bit of the celery too. That bit is good. We'll just snippy snap off that part. But speaking of appreciating all of you, how are you all? A couple of you have already said, but more of you have arrived since then. So that one there. And of course, the eternal question, what's for dinner? It smells very strongly of lobster in the room right now on account of that roasting shell. Flemish had insomnia for 2 weeks. 2 weeks! Good Lord! I thought I had insomnia. And I have had some pretty serious insomnia, but nothing like that. Well, not 2 weeks. Damn! I hope you are feeling better. I hope you're getting some sleep. I know what it's like to just be unable, no matter how tired you seem to be. Jay's home from work. Today was crazy. People are getting their hype train emotes. What is that? It's a ghost. It's a little ghost who then disappears. Hype little ghost. You had surgery today. Oh, I hope it went well. I hope the pain is just the normal post-surgery pain and not something to worry about. Well, settle in, chill out. Sounds like we all need a little bit of a chill out right now. I'll try not to bleed on stream. Book woman has surgery tomorrow. Oh my. Well, good luck to you on that. I guess it's the time. I guess it is the time for things. Did I get the same? I bet you I got the same one. Open. I did. Shy ghost. Yep, that's what that is. That's a shy ghost. Okay. So I did celery, carrots, and onions because that's what you put in a stock. But I guess the celery was supposed to be for the... Let's see, lobster rolls want green onion, celery, lime juice, mayonnaise, lettuce. Also celery, dill, parsley, so herbs, lemon, so herbs, some citrus. But they both wanted celery, so I probably should cut another rib of celery to mix in with this bit. Chef Mini Kongs, hello, hello. Sofrito vibes, indeed. Should take a peek at our lobster shell. Oh, we should take a peek at our lobster from the freezer, too. These were quite a bit bigger, but it was only claws. Hi, Chef Mini Kongs. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? I doubt I'm going to get these out intact, and I doubt they're going to be in good shape. I'm hoping they're going to be in usable shape. Where's my clipper? Oh, I put the clipper in the water. $1 a.m. vibes. You must be halfway across the world then. Um, I'm doing okay. We were just talking about I got my stitches out today, and then everybody jumped in on a hype train over stitches, stitch train. And then everybody was talking about how it was kind of just a lot of subpar days today. Either a lot of work or some insomnia or surgeries or all sorts of stuff. So we're just kind of, we're all in for a nice chill time. I cut my hand. You can see it on the other camera. You can see when my hand's not wet. I cut my finger on. Oh yeah, that doesn't look so good. On a broken cup while doing dishes last week. Yeah, these guys really got a little bit freezer burned. And it wasn't very. It's not a very long cut, so it only needed one stitch, but it was quite deep, so it needed a stitch, which wasn't the best thing to happen to me. But the stitch, it healed well. The stitch came out today. I went in this morning, got it taken out, and we are good to go. And the biggest tragedy of the situation at this point is that I broke my favorite coffee mug. Oh yeah, bread knives are not dull. They're pretty sharp. Don't go mistaken. Don't go mistaken. There's there's a ton of juice coming out of this, which I don't really want to get soaked in on that board there. So I think I should transfer away from the board. I think there's still a little bit of a frozen core in this one. That's why I'm having a hard time pulling it out. Yeah, a little bit of a frozen core in there, right around where the cartilage is. But definitely got a little bit more meat off of these big guys, and I can just mince it up. We are making. So I had the whole lobster. It was a whole lobster to start with that we have to use today because it was in the use it or lose it bucket at the grocery store. I'm not going to bother with that piece. So I would just ask for some suggestions on the Discord. And there was a push towards. Oh God, I gotta get. I gotta clean that up real fast. Because we know from experience that this board does not like getting real wet. There was a push towards lobster rolls, and I thought a lobster roll just by itself sounded kind of dull. And also, I wanted to utilize the shell. Because I paid for the shell. Because it was a whole lobster in shell, so you pay for the weight of the shell. And in my own research, before consensus had settled on, or in my own brainstorming, before consensus had settled on a roll, I was thinking whole lobster, pre-cooked, break it open, do a thermidor. And then there was also an idea of a bisque. There was a third idea. So the plan is lobster roll. Now I got some extra lobster here. We'll mince it up, throw it in there, because it was kind of freezer burn. You can see it's this weird yellow color. No doubt that is from the fact that it's been in the freezer and got kind of freezer burned on me. we can use these two nice claws as the visible claws for our finished plating. We could use these, but they also have like a weird cut in them, and I broke them up to get them out of there. So we're going with lobster roll, but also I want to include the Thermidor flavors. So lobster roll Thermidor, and when I say Thermidor flavors, I mean that I'm going to kind of make some kind of French-ish cheese sherry sauce for it. But not too much, because I also wanted to make a bisque that is a dip for our sandwich. Like a but not like a full-on bisque, because I'm not going to go through the process, the trouble. But so the plan is to have a sandwich of lobster and a little bowl on the side of a lobster flavored dipping soup. And that's the intended finished dish. And then we also, when we cracked open the whole lobster, discovered that it had roe in it. So we also have lobster roe that I am not 100% sure where I'm going to use it. And we're roasting off the shells right now. And that phase is coming to an end. You may recognize this as the pot from our magic pot. So I've never seen this before either. I don't know what we're doing. We're making food. We're making a food. Something's probably going to happen. So we're throwing the shell pieces we just broke off and didn't roast in there, but the main body of our thing. And I threw in some spare shrimp shells from my shrimp shell stash. These guys have roasted off, which helps the shellfishy flavors wake up. And we're gonna throw them in there, and then we're gonna pressure cook this thing, because that's the quick way to make stock. And I've already wasted a bunch of time. Since we had such a short one last week, I'm expecting to go a little bit long this week. But I don't want to go too super duper long. So this is all the bits and pieces. Legs and carcass chunks and things. Lobster roe garlic herb butter. You are the second one now to suggest using the roe in a lobster butter. And I think that sounds tasty. We're gonna need more water. And that would be a good way to help incorporate it into this thing. I think we're going to go for the warm lobster roll because the cheese sauce should also be warm. Is this still too hot to touch? It is. Okay. That's the problem. The pan is too hot for me to grab the pan, which is why I'm awkwardly doing it like this. Okay. Definitely need more water. I'll probably have more stock than I need, given the amount of shell that's in there. So we should just overdo it a little bit. But we're going to pressure cook that. I'm going to go for 6, or I can cook it down later. Go for 6 and really kind of push things down into the water. Okay. Power on, lock, high pressure. Doesn't need super long. 20 minutes? 20 minutes might even be too long. In fact, 15? Go 15. Go 15. Because shellfish doesn't take nearly as long to extract into stock as like bones do. Okay. Clean up yonder thing. Okay, the roe. People say roe butter. I've got some butter. Garlic, herb, roe butter. Okay. Herbs, fresh herbs I've got on hand are parsley, basil, chives, sage. Sage. We could do a garlic sage. I do not have any fresh dill. I only have dry dill. Do I have dry dill? Do I have dry dill? I do. I have dry dill. I have dry dill seed as well as dry dill leaf. But I have sage. Basil, parsley, chives, scallions, sage, shiso, red shiso. Don't lose those. No, I tried growing dill last year and it did really badly. And this year I just didn't even try growing dill. I've heard dill is easy, but I had a terrible time with it, so I don't know. The roe is cooked. The whole lobster was cooked. So the roe came out of the lobster already cooked. Couldn't do anything about that. I suppose I don't know if you were asking for a positive or negative aspect of is it cooked. But that's it there. It's kind of lumpy because it solidified. Oh, it's this one here. Some fresh celery, some this. We're gonna. I've got so many dishes. I didn't quite catch up on my dishes before starting today because they had gotten a little out of control on account of my hand wound. So the pot I want to use is dirty, so I'm going to clean that right now. And we can't forget to add salt. In the past, I've treated my homemade stock like I would store-bought stock without thinking about it. And I've been like, this doesn't taste like anything. Why doesn't this taste like anything? And it's because there's no salt in it. Because, of course, my homemade stuff is never pre-salted. It's not like to make lobster enchiladas. I strongly considered lobster tacos, lobster thermidor tacos as an alternative, where instead of putting them in the shell, I would put them in taco shells and then thermidorize those. There was definitely a whole lot of brainstorming before we settled on this. And the ideas that got cut were not necessarily less dumb than this. We can't do a lot of lobster recipes because lobster's so expensive. So when I do get a chance to do lobster, it fires up the creative juices. Plus, I really like lobster. Okay, we're melting some butter in that pan. Now, I was thinking, so go like we're doing with the lobster here. Mince it up. Combine it with celery, onions, and either butter or mayo. And then topped with Gruyere and broiled in the taco shell. Lobster curry could have been really nice, but unfortunately, it was the thing that was the most different to all the other ideas. And also, by the time you said that, I had already gone out to get the rolls and plotted out a few other things. It's an interesting idea. We will keep that in our pocket. It might, I mean, it's not that different from shrimp curry, but lobster gives it way more of a sort of sweetness and richness. That can actually go on the back burner on medium low. We're throwing in all of those vegetables. That's the basis there. And those are going to get some salt. Just saw myself shaking a pan, which means I've got a pretty hefty delay on my monitoring line. Those guys get some salt. Butter, lobster roll butter. Hold on, I gotta find recipes. Lobster roll butter, not a compound butter. Lobster roll garlic butter. That's also a compound, but these are all compound butters, which could be tasty. Mix in dill. This is probably the one you looked at. Mix together softened garlic, herb butter, and cooked lobster roll, and mix in dill. Serve with lobster tails, bread, or crackers. A compound butter. Let me grab another scissor. Get some herbs. Which herbs should we herb? Definitely need some parsley. Probably should cut a good bit of chive. Chive seems like it would go well here. If any of the scallions are worthwhile. The rain has stopped. That's good, because I just walked outside without checking. Oh, the chives look great. That's good. I mean, the scallions look great. The chives look great too, but... Okay, a bunch of chive. Two scallions. Scallions, chives. Parsley. We need to do a harvest on the basil very soon. Ugh. Spider, why are you building a web inside my parsley? I don't like that. I don't particularly appreciate that. I said sage. We will cut some sage as well. Remind me to harvest my basil. The bottom leaves aren't eternal yellow, so that's a sign I should pull it out or cut it out and dry it, because that stuff does not keep. Okay, homegrown sage, quite a bit of it. Just lopped off the top of one of them guys. And a bunch of parsley. I cut around the spider webs, but we're going to have to give this a little bit of a rinse anyways. The parsley also did quite badly in the past, and this year has done fabulously well. So Maybe I'll give basil a try. Or not basil. Dill a try in the future. Our pressure pot is right on the cusp. Right on the cusp, hissing loudly. I hope the little popper thing pops real quick. Pop. It's rising. It's rising. So it should kick in and beep at me and say we're up to pressure. Glacier, you're not first. Congratulations. Who was first? Did I miss the first today? Several things have happened. MJ was first. Well, congratulations. I did miss MJ claiming first. There it is, just at the top of my chat. I did miss MJ claiming first, but that's because it was 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes ago. Well, congratulations, Glacier. Have fun at the gym. I don't know why I said it like that, but that's the way we said it. It can't be undone. The little thing popped up, and there's so much water in there, there's no way it's going to do that thing. Once before, it would not hit pressure, and it burned off all its water. And then said, I don't have any water, which was dumb. But this time it has 6 cups of water, and there's no way it's going to do that. You guys are looking at the wrong thing. We are going to soften this down for a while. I haven't actually used the pressure mode on the pressure pot in a good bit. And the last time I had it let sit idle for a while, the pressure seals got gummy and I had to clean them. And it did exactly what it's doing now, and I was really worried about it because it would get 1 tick below its engage pressure and never quite make it. But it's not actively steaming, and it has popped the little thingy. So come on, buddy. I trust you. I believe in you. Beep, beep, beep. That's what we're looking for. Beep, beep, beep. Don't know if you can hear it. I never know if you can hear the beeps. Okay. What am I doing? I'm getting really confused today. Oh, I'm making weird noises. I'm getting really confused today. That is the Foodie. Ninja Foodie. I forget the full name of it. 8-in-1 something something. That's him there. That's him there. Lobster mac and cheese, lobster grilled cheese, lobster dumpling. So I am incorporating the lobster mac and cheese because that's another thing that I thought of, because our lobster flavored dipping soup is gonna have cheese in it. I knew somebody was going to mention it. I got that thing on sale for $50 something, and it came with a bonus dehydrator rack. So it was pretty steeply discounted for being brand new. I've seen these at thrift stores a lot, and they're pretty steeply discounted, but they're usually in terrible shape. This one was brand new. So for that price for a brand new one, that was pretty darn good. What are we making? What are we making? I've forgotten everything. Who are you people? How did you get in here? That. Yeah, with the because it was marked down and then also on clearance after the markdown. And I've had it now for a couple of years. So it's not the current model, but it was the current model. It was on clearance because it was just like the week that the new model came out. So it was the old model, but only like just barely when I got it. It's been great. It's one of those things where and I've talked about this before, where I never would have purchased a standalone air fryer, and I've looked for standalone pressure cookers. I probably would have ended up with one of the cheap stovetop ones, not this fancy programmable kind. Just, a pot with a seal and a gauge. But having it now, I love it. I use the air fry mode on it all the time. This butter should have been softened. So yeah, it was a steal, and I use it all the time. It is. I did. It doesn't have Wi-Fi. It doesn't have AI integration. It doesn't have any of those things. It just has buttons on the front that do the thing. My most recent. I'm very thrifty. And I love gadgetry. This one is my most recent gadget. It is a itty bitty teeny tiny toaster oven. It fits one piece of bread that just about touches the sides. And I love it. And it was $6. But among the things that we've used the most often in the actual kitchen, the Ninja multi-pot and the Ninja food processor have gotten quite a lot of work. Nope, you guys are looking at the side of my head. Don't mind me, I'm just mashing lobster eggs into butter. It's coming together. I should have pre-softened the butter a little bit. But the roe actually breaks up quite well. We could probably add some butter to that. And some salt. Oh, I know. I have this little knob of butter from a thing that we used where I had to pick up the butter and rub it on stuff. And it's such an awkward amount that I haven't used it. And then we were going to add some herbs to that. I wanted to add sage. I thought the sage sounded like a great idea. We're going to rinse the sage off real quick. Do you have any fun gadgets? Anyone? Flemish? Are they actually putting Wi-Fi and AI on kitchen gadgets now? I know they're putting them on refrigerators, which just sounds dumb. My new refrigerator has none of those. But mostly because they cost more. We should add some salt to our butter as well. I know they're trying to put it in everything. I just don't know if they've succeeded. Yep, there's celery on the other side of that knife. I worry that the AI market is going to eat itself alive, as in it's a huge bubble, like the dot-com bubble, and when finally it fails to turn the profit, there's a lot of money bound up in it that is just going to go poof. And that has me legitimately worried, because I don't believe there's any safeguards for that. More fancy tech in the fridge, the faster it dies. I don't doubt that either. In fact, that's probably the point. They want the fridge to die so you'll buy a new one. All my kitchen gadgets are thrifted, except for the multi-pot wasn't bought new, but it was clearance, so I was still a thrifty find. Ooh, that butter right there, not softened. Not at all. Not even room temp softened. Last thing you bought was a thing that would shred carrots into strings, and you've never been so embarrassed. Why are you embarrassed? I've got one of those. We've used it. It's my most dangerous gadget. Watch me cut myself just showing you. This thing with the horrifying row of teeth, use it to cut carrot ribbons. Or did you mean one of those spirally guys? Because I've actually got one of those too, and I've never used it. I thought it would be neat, and then I just actually never used it. The spaghetti ones. Yeah, okay, yep. With the crank on the side. Where's my scissors? I'm in a literal sense cutting that chunk of butter into little shards, because those will soften and incorporate faster than the big lump. Which is a trick I've seen for pastry making, where you put cold butter into a bunch of flour and then you literally take the scissors and you cut the butter. We're using that here. I got mine at a thrift store, so I actually didn't pay full price for it, but I also have not used it. So they tricked 3 people because somebody else bought it, new, didn't use it, took it to a thrift store, dropped it off, and then I saw it there, still new, still with its original packaging, and was like, ooh. Okay. Our sofrito thing is pretty much all softened up. I wonder if the price tag is still on the one I've got. It might even be. It might even be. Where are you? I paid $6 for it. There it is. It's still in the package. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about that one. Clearly, I don't have much drive to cut vegetables into spirally noodles. Queerly Studley, hello, hello, hello. You got caught in our gift bombs earlier. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? I've got, 0 seconds. I was going to say just a couple seconds, but 0 seconds is in fact the number of seconds on our pressure pot. And I'm not going to wait for it. We're just going to do an immediate pressure release. To a stream where we try out all the tools. We could do a stream where we try out all the tools. Wow, that's loud. You guys probably can't hear it at all, but it's really loud for me, the hiss of the escaping steam. That's tasty. That's tasty. I just licked my finger and that stuff's tasty. You can hear it. Okay. Never sure. Sometimes I say something's loud and you're like, oh, we can hardly hear it at all. Okay, this stuff is looking pretty well compounded. We added sage and salt, and it really woke up quite a lot. Like, they always show up on my my sound mixer, but sometimes when it shows up on my sound mixer and I mention it, you guys are like, "Oh, I couldn't hear it at all." It happens with the food processor usually. So I'm never quite sure. Now it's very quiet. We never tested to see if you guys could hear the super loud refrigerator when that was dying. Okay. That stuff. That stuff, that stuff. That stuff. Open the lock. Lift the top. We need to filter our you guys won't be able to see this one very well because I'm doing it in the sink. But I need to get the bits out of my juice without losing the juice. Then the bits can go in the compost because they're all extracted now, but this thing being boiling hot, I'm not gonna try to haul it over for you. In fact, we'll do a main kitchen. Have I started using up the extra space in the freezer yet? In fact, I've gone the opposite until like this past week when I put a big box of Eggo mini pancakes in there because they were 50 cents. Again, clearance price stuff. Otherwise, I've actually been trying to continue taking stuff out like I was before. I cannot see. I have blinded myself. Oop. Okay, that is our lobster stock. Turn my halo off. That is our fresh homemade lobster stock. Did I buy the new toaster oven specifically for the Eggo Minis? No, I bought the Eggo Minis specifically so I could put them in the tiny toaster oven. Because I had the toaster oven first. Once again, the lawn mowing service of the neighbors has decided now is the time. They are mowing the lawn. Okay. Our sofrito is all shriveled up. I wanted to add, I'm just going to use garlic. I'm going to use garlic. Because I bought more garlic after we ran out of all forms of garlic last time. I haven't even opened it, right? Yeah, it's in the pantry. After we ran out of all forms of garlic, I bought every form of garlic so that I would have it. 6 p.m. is better than 6 a.m. I will grant you that. Okay, scoop of garlic. That's jarred garlic. We need more butter. We're probably going to use this whole stick of butter today, just on butter-related things, because we are kind of making French food, and French food uses a lot of butter. I'm also getting really distracted today. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm happy and excited. And it results in the kind of nonsense that we're doing, where I get badly distracted. I don't know why they're so. Well, I know why they're so eager. I don't know why the owners are not objecting to the frequency. Okay, we're going to build a little roux with some butter and some flour. Right there. Not that pan, not that pan. That pan. Heat some butter. Add the lobster, the celery, salt, pepper. Cook for just until heated. Add herbs. Gotcha. Okay, cool. We'll do that. So this big jug here, I thought was going to be a good big jug for pouring juices, but it turns out its spout is poorly designed and it backflows every time I pour. Backflows to the point where I just am like, it's nice that it has a handle, but I don't want to use it for pouring. So it's nice that it has a handle. Okay, adding some of our stock. We'll let that guy simmer away back there. I guess I have extra lobster stock to play with. Butter, get melty. Bread, get toasty. Ooh, things are happening. Suddenly. Suddenly things are happening. Why? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I have split Losing my mouse. I've split my hoagie down the middle. I'm tempted to scrape out some of the middle. But not all the middle, just some of the middle. Okay. And then I'm going to toast that in the oven, I guess, because my toasted in the tiny toaster oven. I cannot toast it in the tiny toaster oven. The tiny toaster oven is too tiny for this thing. It's hilarious. Hilarious. Toast it in the big oven, just on the broil. That's not going to work very well. We're melting butter. We're boiling our stock a little bit more than I wanted to. We are going to address that one and then this one. And so that one needs not the bread. I have a plan for you, bread. But we still have a good chunk of this Gruyere, the Gruyere end cuts, which we are going to use in multiple locations today. You haven't seen it, but just to the side has been waiting a grater this whole time. The handle grater, so that I can do it directly over a thing. Do it this way so you guys can see the shreds. Because we're making a cheese soup. Whoop. Let's stir that in and see what we're working with. Lower the heat. Actually, take it completely off the heat. Let it just coast through on residuals. We had this problem in the past, remember, where we had our thing go too hot and we split our cheese sauce. So I'm going to let that guy sit in the back there. The butter here is just starting to bubble. So in goes our celery. Turn that down as well. And in goes our lobster. Some salt. Shredded Gruyere does make all food better. We just don't want our cheese sauce to split. That's the That's the danger. Ooh, I've got the broiler on. That's fine. We're going to take the broiler off. We're going to take our thing out. We're going to turn off our back corner burner. We toasted up our thingy a little bit. Our thingy. Don't know why I said it like that. Don't worry, there's more shredded Gruyere happening too. That's not the end of that. That's hot. That needs another spatula because we're going to stir that around. Okay. Let that coast on residuals. Take our hot bread. Oh, take our scallions. 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 Come over yonder. Take our hot bread and fill in the cavity with lobster roll butter. Nonsense. Just nonsense. The nonsensiest. Oh, we need the tray back. Is the tray broiler hot? It is not. Good. We need the tray back. Our hot lobster and celery and scallion mix. Goes in the cavity of the bread. Overflowing. As soon as I get out of the way, you can see that it is overflowing. Perfect. We want it to be just stuffed in there. Grab our grater. Grab our Gruyere. Oops. Oop, I didn't use the bread nuggets. Oh well. This is getting out of hand. This is out of hand. This is illegal. This is illegal right here. That guy is going back in the broiler. just a minute. We will clean a few things up. Gruyere is a good cheese. I may have gone too far. I don't think that's possible. I don't respectfully disagree. I disrespectfully disagree. Who are you to say when I've gone too far? This is my house. Grab some parsley, grab some chive. Just rough cut these guys. I legitimately forgot to put these where I was going to put them, so now they're in my mouth and I'm eating them. Just the bread. Broil done. Over yonder. Ouch. We've melted our cheese. Lobster claws on top. Parsley chive is for the plate. Gonna let that guy sit there and rest a little bit. I've got another thing. We're getting out another thing. Now I've gone too far. Now we've gone too far. I should taste that before I taste your food. Needs more cheese? It's more cheese. Boy, Gruyere end cuts. Who knew that they would be such a thrifty find? I've added some cheese to our soup. We'll stir it in, let it soften in the residual heat. You can even put it up there. It'll pick up a little bit of residual heat. While it's residualing, because we're gonna blend it so it's nice and smooth. And we're going to use the new plate. For plating. Which means I can add my herbs now, because the herbs go. Okay. Have you melted? You have not. You have not, because you have not enough residual heat. Those strands of cheese must melt for this to work. I also think it needs just a smidge more salt. And since we're just being ridiculously extra today, some lobster roe butter as well. We're just being ridiculously extra today. As soon as the cheese is melty, we are going to serve, though. Well, we're going to blend and then serve. Okay. Not melty enough for my book. Put it in the blender carafe. We can do this on the main side over yonder. Herbs move to the side, unless I want to put some herbs in the soup. Blender will take care of getting those blended up. It's just, ooh. I'm also going to move the whole thing here out of the way so I don't screw it up while I'm doing this nonsense. All those are off, yeah. Okay. Unlock, load. Come on. Unlock high. And that's the stuff. Ghetto Beano, you are just in time for the end. We're plating. We're plating now, actually. This is the last thing. We just needed to blend it. We have gone ultra decadent today. It is frankly nonsense. I guess I'm overcompensating for the kind of weak performance last week when my hand was all injured. Let's knock the bubbles out of that. You can knock the bubbles out of a thick sauce like this by just tapping it on the table. And I'm going to take the picture, and then we're going to come back and we're going to taste this beast. Oop. And I'm going to put a little bit of fresh chive on top of the soup. Too much lobster goo on the scissors. Switching scissors. Switching scissors. No, you're here for the best part, the tasting part. Okay. Well, I'm excited to eat this. There's a lot of butter in this thing. Scissors out of the way. Extra chive out of the way. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know, these new black plates are great. I angled the bowl. It's a nice sort of small size plate. Previously, my only sort of smaller plate were the brown ones, which clash a lot with a lot of foods. So, for those of you just arriving, those of you who missed the nonsense up to this point, what we have here is a lobster roll with Gruyere, a Gruyere and lobster roe butter lobster roll with a lobster bisque cheese sauce. It's one of the most decadent things I think I've made. Our lobster had lobster roe. It was a female with roe. So when I cracked it open, there was lobster roe inside, and we made lobster roe butter out of it. Otherwise, I have no idea where to source lobster roe, and I probably wouldn't want to based on the cost. But it was just sheer luck that our lobster had some when we opened it up. Our bargain bin $7 lobster had some when we cracked it open. And the Gruyere cheese was from Gruyere irregular end cuts, and I think we used one entire stick of butter. Yeah, so actually, for as decadent as this thing was, not actually that expensive of a thing. If I add it all up, it's probably around Under 15 if I count all the random odds and ends. Under 10 if I just count what I bought for it. Let's taste it. Let's see if it's actually as good as it looks, because it looks good. The hoagie got kind of crusty. Oh my God. Is that our... That's our lobster sage butter leaking out the bottom. Gonna have a hard time eating this. We have to attempt to eat it with like a sandwich first. We're done. We're done. That's it. Channel over. It's extremely lobstery. It's so lobstery. I'm kind of glad I had a little bit of extra frozen so that I could bulk it up a little bit without having to resort to shrimp, because it's just like intensely lobstery. I'll probably move on to a knife and fork, but I had to try to eat it like a sandwich. And we have to give it a dip as well. It'll be a mess. This sandwich is a mess. Thank you for the moisten. I will be on that momentarily. It did have a nice crunch, but the inside is still nice and soft because I couldn't get it to sit open while I was toasting it, so it closed back on itself, so only the outside got real toasty. So it's got a really hard crunch on the outside, but the inside is all soft. The inside's all soaked with butter too, so that helps. Where did I put my glass? Here it is. Thank you so much for the moisten. We haven't had one today. Moist. How does this rank among all of my dishes? I think it's a little unfair because I really like lobster. And this tastes like lobster. Use the soup. No, I should use water because there's so much butter. There's so much butter in this. It's up there, but it's up there because of the sheer decadence. This is incredibly rich. Actually, what it needs probably is a little splash of lemon. Do I have lemon? Probably needs just a little bit to cut through the richness. I'm going to give it, if I can get this thing open. Do I want to? Do I want to? No. I should have included a little bit of lemon when I was toasting, or when I was warming through the lobster and the celery. The celery actually helps. It gives the interior some roughage, so it's not just soft and rich right through the middle. There's a little bit of variation, which helps a lot. It's real good. It's real good. It's Like I said, it's super lobster forward, which gives it an unfair advantage. It's probably up there with some of the best ones, though. It's probably up there, even discounting its lobster advantage, up there with like the strawberry pork steak. That one was super good. I remember all these things. Part of the reason I've done so many, I am losing track of remembering them. We were looking at things to do with the lobster roe because I didn't want to waste it. So I made a compound butter. That's the compound butter with the lobster roe, some salt, butter, and sage. By itself, it's not super intense, but you would always serve it warm with something else. I actually wouldn't serve. It says serve it with crackers. I would say no. Serve it with spread on warm toast, something to warm it up because that'll wake up the flavors. It's not super intensely flavored. I don't think I've ever had lobster roe because it's one of those things where would I get it? I would get it out of a lobster if I was lucky, and I've never been lucky before. Anyway, this thing is also a mess to eat, so I'm not taking more bites now because I want to talk. Yes, a nice warm crusty bread. Yes, which is what this is. So I filled in the cavity with oh, you got here just after you got here when I was blending up the soup. The entire interior cavity of the roll, I plastered with the lobster roe butter before I filled it with the lobster filling. So we're super buttered up and also super lobstered up in there. Man, guys, this was real tasty. This was real tasty. I guess I don't have much more to say. I want to eat this. I want to get in on this, but it's so messy that every time I take a bite, I gotta clean off. So I'm not going to take any more bites until we're clear, just so I can, you know, shove my face into it. The knife and the fork might come out a little bit later. Also, with this much butter, probably shouldn't have any more butter for the rest of the month. It's a whole stick of butter in this. So we're going to sign off so that I can enjoy this while it's still nice and warm. Thanks for showing up, everybody. It's soup. We're doubled up on the lobster flavor. Also, the cheese soup is made with the lobster shells, so it's also lobster on that end. It's a lobster bisque cheese sauce. We lobstered the heck out of this thing. Thanks for showing up, everybody. Thanks for the hype train earlier. Thanks for the follows. I've lost track of all the people who received them. But we had Jay, we had Rayuya, we had Bookwoman, we had Flemish. We had Bookwoman with Prime way back at the... Oh no, that was last time. I scrolled back too far. Thank you guys so much. Happy September. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad my finger is healed. I'm excited. Once again, we're all energized and happy. I had a really good time today. Hope you did too. Thank you, Rayuya. Thank you, Rayuya, for the raid messages. Dancing Dinos if you are not subbed, and my little happy face there if you are. Let's find a place. We could see Dinner with Mom. We haven't gone to Dinner with Mom in a bit. In a hot minute. Unless you guys... We've gone to see Room and Board quite a few times recently. They are making Pinot Noir butternut squash ravioli, which does sound very good. Dinner with Mom is doing Mod Appreciation Day. For Streamerversary, we're doing Dinner with Mom. Dinner with Mom is having an anniversary. We're doing Dinner with Mom. So yeah, like I said, thanks for showing up. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for all the subs. Thanks for the hype train. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for bearing with me last week when I was definitely not on my game because I had to be real touchy with my hand. But we are all good now. I have created once again a giant mess to clean up. So that's exciting. Yeah, I guess I got no more to say. And I will be back. You know, recently I've a couple times I said I'll be back later in the week because we did pretty good on that one Thursday, and then I haven't done it because I'm set in my ways. So who knows when I'll be back? Most likely next week, but stay tuned. Stay tuned. Yeah, I guess I don't have anything more to say. Congratulations on being first, MJ, even though you were here like an hour and a half in. Bye.